Jessica Radcliffe was 38 years old, but her life seemed already written since the summer of her 13th year. That summer, in a small marine park, she saw for the first time an orca leap out of the water. The huge black and white mass rose like a dream, bursting in the sun's rays before crashing back into a splash of foam. She remembered the muffled sound, the powerful breath, the salty air filling her nostrils, and the shiver that ran through her body. At that moment, she knew she would spend the rest of her life with these marine giants. From then on, Jessica dedicated herself to learning everything about them. She spent her weekends by the tanks, watching every movement, every splash. She devoured books, studied signals, sounds, behaviors. At 20, she finally joined a training program. It was a school of patience and discipline. Her hands were often red from the training sessions, her muscles tense from hours spent in cold water. But she hung on because she knew the bond she was building with the orcas was not just a job, it was a mission. Over the years, she became one of the most respected trainers in the country. Her name circulated in the industry, and in the stands, children waved signs with her name. But among all the orcas she had known, only one had conquered her heart like no other. Titan, 6 meters of power, 6 tons of muscle, a breath that resonated like a drumbeat in the chest. His black and white skin shone under the spotlight like the surface of a sea polished by the wind. And his eyes, there was something in his eyes, an intelligence, a depth that seemed to understand more than an animal should understand. Titan and Jessica formed a rare duo. Her colleagues said they spoke without words. She claimed that with him, a single look was enough. Even today, this story is told as a warning. Behind the smiles of marine shows, there is an invisible suffering. Behind every graceful leap, there are years of captivity. Jessica believed in the unbreakable bond between man and animal. She thought her love would be enough to calm the rage, but she paid the ultimate price for a truth many refuse to face. And you, who hear this story, what do you feel? If you think no one should die like this, if you believe these marine giants deserve the ocean, tell this story. Share it. Don't let her memory fade into silence, because Jessica's love for Titan was real, and that's exactly why we must remember. The sensation was brutal, the pull irresistible. The icy water enveloped her, the salty and bitter taste. Her eyes widened. This was not a game. Below the surface, she felt the animal's strength. Not that of a partner, but that of a predator trapped too long. Titan shook her with cold fury. Every movement was powerful, calculated. The clear water turned red. Her lungs burned. She tried to free herself, but it was impossible to fight him. Above, her colleagues were screaming, splashing the water, sending jets. The audience, first frozen in confusion, turned to horror. Some filmed, others turned away. Parents covered their children's eyes. The minutes became eternities. For over 30 minutes, Titan held his grip, dragging her down, slamming her against the walls. The muffled sound of the water and the deep beat of the orca's heart echoed in her ears. Jessica thought about everything: the years of training, the cold mornings at the edge of the tank, the silent glances exchanged with Titan. She also thought about the warnings, the reports they had told her to ignore. And in the midst of the panic, she felt one terrible thing. The love she had for this animal had not disappeared. Even when they finally managed to pull her body to the surface, the sunlight revealed her wounds. The rescuers already knew there was nothing to be done. The verdict was clear: drowning, multiple trauma. For those who knew her, the loss was unimaginable. How could this orca, whom she had loved, defended, and understood better than anyone, have turned against her? The truth was there: brutal. Titan was not a monster, but he was not free. And no affection could erase the years of captivity, frustration, and deprivation of the ocean. He followed her with his eyes in the tank, waiting for her signals as if they were promises. Sometimes she swore he waited for her even before she arrived in the morning. This bond she had forged day after day, gesture after gesture, with patience and respect. Titan was not a number to her. He was a partner, almost a member of her family. But behind the tenderness, there was the shadow. Jessica knew that Titan carried a heavy past. Captured in 1983 in the icy waters of Iceland, torn from his mother at only 2 years old, his entire life had been spent in a tank, trapped in an area millions of times smaller than the ocean. She had read the internal reports, the signs of aggression, the refusal to obey, the worrying behaviors. She knew the history of incidents, sometimes tragic with other trainers, but she deeply believed that love and trust could heal the wounds. She believed that if anyone could keep the peace with Titan, it was her. That day in February should have been a moment of joy. The salty air was brisk, the sky a brilliant blue, and the stands vibrated with excitement. Children laughed, parents filmed. The sweet scent of snacks floated in the air. Jessica put on her black suit, smoothed her hair into a ponytail, and deeply inhaled the scent of salt and chlorine. The scheduled act was one of their favorites. Titan was supposed to lift her out of the water, a moment always spectacular that made the crowd leap. The water sparkled like a mirror under the sun. Jessica gave the signal, a precise gesture repeated hundreds of times. Titan approached, then hesitated. A strange silence fell over the stage. She smiled at him, thinking it was just a whim, and moved a little closer. And that's when everything shifted. In a flash, Titan closed his powerful jaws around her ponytail and yanked her violently toward the water.